You're doing the work, you're running the models, creating the forecasts, and sharing your findings with cross-functional leaders. And yet, when the C-suite makes a big decision, is FP&A really in the room? Vena surveyed over 400 global finance leaders from across industries, and now we're releasing the results in our 2026 FP&A Impact Report. And what we uncovered might sting a little. I'm Alex Perry, Director of Enterprise Sales for Vena, and I'm going to share some of the highlights from our 2026 FP&A Impact Report, including a definitive answer to the question FP&A has been asking for years. Does the rest of the business see you as the strategic partners that you aspire to be? Let's dig into our findings. Our first finding gives us a clear view into how business executives really view FP&A, at least according to the finance leaders we talked to. If you take a look, you'll see that a majority of the organizations that we looked at still see FP&A teams as advisors, not strategic business partners. 61% of survey respondents told us their executives see them as either transactional supporting function or as reliable advisors on financials. On the flip side, only 31% said their executives view them as strategic business partners. Even fewer, 9%, were fully embedded as critical drivers of growth. That's a pretty stark distinction. Think number cruncher or glorified reporter versus strategic partner or business leader. One is there to advise or offer information. The other has a fully established seat at the table where decisions are being made. For FP&A professionals who aim to be the best strategic partners possible to their wider organization, it also probably comes as a bit of a blow. When the wider organization underestimates your contributions, it limits the impact you can have. But our data also shows that FP&A has some limits of its own that might be making it difficult for them to earn that seat at the table. And it all begins with data. 58% of finance leaders that we talked to said data quality and availability are their top bottlenecks. That means, for the second year in a row, data is FP&A's #1 challenge. And it's an issue that has a far-reaching impact. Think about it. Low data quality and availability are technical constraints because they mean systems aren't talking to each other. But they're also operational constraints because when leaders can't connect their people and their processes, as well as their systems, they can't access or share the operational context everyone needs to form effective plans. This makes it harder for FP&A to offer as much value as they can to the business as a whole. Thankfully, this particular issue is one that finance leaders are aware of and are actively trying to fix. We can see that in the survey results. Improving data integration was the top cited FP&A investment priority, listed by 48% of the finance leaders we talked to. That's good news when you consider the role data plays in the next big trend we uncovered. Not surprisingly, given the rising popularity of artificial intelligence everywhere, the use of AI in finance has skyrocketed over the past year. But today, AI isn't just a nice-to-have for finance teams. For 70% of our respondents, their C-suite executives have introduced mandates to put AI to use within the finance organization. You might think that's a good thing. AI can add true value to FP&A, providing quicker insights, deeper analysis, and more efficiencies, letting you make more impactful decisions faster. The problem is, your data likely isn't ready to support that just yet. 51% of organizations we talked to only have moderate or limited integration between their FP&A tools and source systems like ERPs, CRMs, HRIS, and BI platforms. They lack a well-structured, trustworthy data source, and that leaves data environments fragmented. When finance introduces AI without the foundation of accurate, real-time data, you risk adding more problems than solutions, including the possibility of errors or additional time spent chasing the data you need and validating the results that you generate. Given the emphasis leadership is putting on AI, ensuring those transformation efforts deliver real ROI is a challenge FP&A teams need to solve in the near term. Unfortunately, that's not the only challenge finance is facing with their FP&A tools. Forecasting is critical for FP&A teams, helping them make strategic decisions, manage risk, allocate resources, and stay on top of potential budget changes. We all know that, but if your forecasts aren't accurate, how much help are they? In our benchmark survey, we learned that 52% of finance teams are experiencing revenue forecast variances of greater than 6%. And 45% say it takes their FP&A team a week or more to deliver a decision-ready forecast when market conditions change suddenly. This impacts your organization's ability to move quickly, and that kind of agility is more important than ever given the current economic conditions. We all know it's been a tough year for a lot of businesses. The data quality challenges that we saw earlier likely play a role in these forecasting issues. But we also found that only 34% of organizations are fully integrating operational drivers into their forecasting models. For most, things like unit sales, headcount, and marketing spend aren't being considered. No doubt, this disconnect between financial and operational business functions plays a role in their forecasting challenges. It means finance teams aren't rooting their projections in real-world business activities, including the day-to-day operations of other business units. When these factors aren't considered, you're more likely to have forecasts that miss the mark. As we learned in the benchmark survey, collaboration with other business units is a broader issue for FP&A. 63% of the finance professionals we talked to labeled their FP&A team's capacity for cross-functional collaboration as advanced or leading. But is that really the case? Because the data also showed that 43% of respondents see limited alignment and collaboration with other units as a critical bottleneck. It's the second most reported challenge this year. And, as we saw, most organizations aren't integrating operational drivers into their financial forecasting models. This shows they're missing the cross-functional context that would help them become better partners to the rest of the business. We also wanted to find out more about exactly how FP&A teams are collaborating with the broader business. 12% of respondents said they had minimal collaboration, serving primarily as a reporting partner. The largest share of respondents, at 36%, said they have regular meetings for forecast input. While FP&A teams engaging frequently with other business units is a positive thing, effective finance business partnering is about more than meetings. Now, one bright spot was that 30% of respondents said they have fully embedded FP&A partners in all functions of their business, and 23% said FP&A has joint ownership of financial targets with other business units. For FP&A teams to meet their full potential as strategic catalysts to their business, we'll want to see this trend upward. Of course, these weren't all the findings Vena uncovered. We looked at a full range of performance benchmarks and trends, unpacked the challenges FP&A teams are currently facing, and examined how the most mature FP&A teams are running their operations, so you can apply those learnings to your own business. You can get our full 2026 FP&A Impact Report at the link below. For more FP&A insights, go to venasolutions.com or subscribe to our YouTube channel.